page
Okay,
instead of Droopy's.
I'm streaming to my unlisted.
Yeah, try that. I'm gonna. It's
Hey,
hard to
now I've got a
figure out
picture
everything.
now.
It should be unlisted. I'm going to send you the link so you can see if it's going through, because I think I figured it out.
Awesome.
Okay, copy.
Nope.
Okay, click on the
I
link.
can't do it on my side.
That's okay. I think
Okay,
he's
so
got
click
it.
on the link.
Yeah.
Click on the link. All right. I think, is our chat still up then too? Can you hear me okay, Drip?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me on the...
Okay. Yeah. Let me see.
Did you hit play?
Are you all set?
No, can you hear us talking on the stream?
I can.
On the link that I sent you, can you hear us talking?
Yes, I got it. I can. Yeah, I got it now. That came through just fine.
Okay, now
Well,
let's
that's where
try
I'm-
this again. Let's try this again. Okay, welcome back to the podcast. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We have Ms. Beatsy right there. We got Mr. Evil, Shane, and we got Mr. FeistyRacoon, the pimp daddy himself. Welcome, y'all.
As the man said, it's the very
What's up, guys?
unofficial War Robots podcast, and we are welcoming our guest for this week. Not necessarily going to be a direct interview. He's more here for the debate more than anything, and fun and games. And one of the first things on our agenda this week is going to be a Facebook poll that we got a hold of via our very own Uncomparable Drippy Sack.
Bam.
Here on the Drippy Sack Entertainment Network. As always, got you covered. Drippy,
Faux shizzle.
give us the gist so that we can get our guest input on this, because you found out quite a bit amongst a simple question, didn't you?
Oh, I just posted on Facebook, you know, post economy, new economy. Do you feel like you're playing more or less? You know, based on the amount of silver it takes to upgrade and the amount of time it takes for those weapon and bots to upgrade. So it's kind of like, you know, you're not constantly upgrading because you have so much time, you know, in between. So it's not, you know, not investing more time into playing. Some people agree. Some people, you know, they have their own reasons. But it was very interesting. 86% of y'all said that you are playing less, when only 14% say you're playing more. So I don't know if that's a gap between the leagues, like people that have all the like the real premium stuff, the new updated gear, and MK2 everything, or is it like the middle of the line players, the diamonds, the experts, the masters? I don't know.
Well, we predicted earlier that that's exactly what we felt like was happening here, kids, is that you're going to, when faced with the choice of upgrading weapons, are you going to upgrade something that's going to take 9 days and millions, when you can just either upgrade something to 9, 10, 11, or 12, or even choose to MK2 the weapon under the old economy? It's a harsh choice, and it could have ripples throughout the game, as intense as this choice they made is. Feisty, as a guest, would you please start the conversation here and tell us how you see this?
I'll just share some of my personal experiences. So
Please.
I have a bunch of stuff that's like already that's still upgrading according to the old economy. So what I'm upgrading right now is some scourges that I got before the economy. So I don't plan on upgrading anything. Maybe if it's like a Spectre, I'll upgrade it like, but if it's like anything that's not like essential for like a top champion level gameplay, I won't even touch it.
Beatsy, tell me a little something about that yourself.
Well, let's just put it this way. I mean, my hangar is almost maxed out. Almost. I have a couple weapons, a couple bots that need, I mean, everything's at level 12 or higher, but I started upgrading a Spectre in the new economy and stopped at level 8 because from 7 to 8 took 6 days. Oof. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let that sit because
it's harsh, isn't it?
Right now that needs
I mean, it feels harsh. It's
right
a long time.
It is, man.
I feel that.
Oh, real quick, does anyone have their alerts on? Because I keep hearing.
Yeah, Feisty, is that yours in the background? Just the noise.
Yeah, gotcha. It was my Discord on my second device. I'll turn it off.
Well, you're a popular guy.
Man, he's getting blown up. Hey, man, come on, we're getting beat up in here. We need your help. Send in the reinforcements, man.
Well, you're gonna have many players. Well, it feels like you're gonna have many players choose to obviously spend the lower amounts of money and upgrade these older items. I really feel like until there is a game-changing weapon or robot, a must-have, a Spectre, a shock train, something like that, if that comes down the pipeline, that's the type of thing that I think will make the whales commit to the new economy and start upgrading some stuff reluctantly, of course. But until that happens, the obvious choice is just older weapons. Wouldn't you say, Droopy?
Oh, absolutely. I was talking to Adrian earlier, and I'm kind of scared. Like, what are they going to do to the Terrans and the Orkans? Because those are one's a gold weapon, and the other one is a workshop point weapon, and anyone can upgrade them. That's like it's free. It's like the Griffin. It's like the Rhino. You know, they weren't making any money for those weapons and bots on a very low scale, but now you're getting all these mid-range weapons that, you know, do max damage around 400 meters, and then you got the shock train at 500 meters, and then the lockdown weapons at 600 meters. So what's going to end up happening with those weapons? But what about the Trident, the Thunder, the Kang Day? Well, the Kang Day, we already got that, which I don't know who requested that one, but it's beautiful. It sounds good. Boom! You know what I'm saying?
Nostalgia, maybe that was like a big nostalgia play, perhaps.
Absolutely. And you know, what about the Punishers and the Mollets?
So I'm not going to own it.
The Norcoms have seen their fit in Champion League, especially when you can get them all the way up to MK2, which I don't know, only a couple of people that have done that, but yeah.
Hey, Feisty,
I've been hit by Adrian's Norcoms. It freaking hurts.
Yeah, right on top of the head like a hangover, man. Just bam with a smack. And he's laughing. He's laughing in his cute little way, you know, and he's running around and he's having the best time. So it's hard to get too mad, other than the fact that 100,000 people are going to see you get it handed to you right on the face, just right in there. Is it possible that in a small way, this will help dictate the meta to come by limiting what is upgraded? Wouldn't you say that's possible?
I don't really know. Like, I mean,
well, it'll limit exoduses from being seen everywhere for quite some time because they're under the new economy and so forth.
But Exodus doesn't, like, the meta right now is just like a mid-range kind of like mid-range meta, right?
For quite some time.
Yep.
With all the like weapons that just like absolutely obliterate any single one. It's like Dragoons, Fluxus, and all that good stuff. So like I don't like Exodus in and of itself it's a really powerful weapon, but I don't think it's gonna have a place in the. It's gonna be there, but it's not gonna be the thing. Like,
well, it'll have an even higher uphill climb because of this new economy rules.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's why I was suggesting in a small way, it's limiting a part of the meta instead of maybe introducing brawlers a little bit more with the Exodus being a little bit more wider range. It's going to be limited a little bit. Who knows? Under the old economy, with a real powerful Exodus, would that have maybe brought brawlers back into it? You know what I mean, Drew?
Oh, absolutely.
Give it to me, buddy. Tell me about that.
Hey, man, I'm starting to see a little bit more Galahads, man. Galahads with gusts and storms.
Excellent.
I'm like, these things are
Have
gangster.
you guys seen that?
Yeah, man, come on, and it's perfect. You know, you can receive a
BT?
shock train or two.
Have you run into the
with
Galahad?
Galahad, what weapon?
You name it.
I've seen mainly gust and storm. Gust and storm.
Yes, excellent. Yeah.
Not
they're
Tyrans and
using
Magnums. Magnums need to be thrown away with the mollets and the spirals.
Where did you see
trash.
it, buddy? Because I ran into it on King of the Hill and a little on Beacon Rush, but mostly King of the Hill. Using that shield and the speed,
man,
it's a great idea.
Speed,
It's
it is not
thinking.
a Gareth. It's not a pursuer. That little thug is an overweight, middle-aged dude, like talking smack. Like it doesn't move that fast, and yes, it has a shield. And what happened to BC, man? She just dipped. I think her video failed.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think
Well,
of
I'll
an
take
MTV
this
song.
opportunity to say, Reverend,
there she is.
you have an excellent point. I think we should get some Android players on. Please understand, it's a little more difficult. I don't have as much exposure to them because I'm on iOS.
We're trying to get Manny
I was
Foggy.
Yeah, I was friends with Viva back in the day, and he's a great, fantastic Android
Viva
player, but
too.
he doesn't really play anymore,
Big
man.
JJ.
So, but yeah, it's a great idea. I should get on it more. Anybody that can help put me up with an amazing Android player, put it on our Facebook page. Clue us in. I'm all about it. Beatsy, are you here for us, girl?
Yeah, it's everyone is just. I need better phone, better iPad. Sorry.
Okay, I guess maybe we should start a little Kickstarter for Beatsy so we can get her some nasty ass equipment, kids.
Go fun, boom.
Yeah, go fund the Beatsmeister. What have you noticed, Beatsy? What have you been running into that you haven't seen in a while?
Haven't seen in a while. I don't even want to talk about that. I want to talk about the freeze weapons. All right.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. Once again, you're causing me to jump way out of line in my notes, and I love it. I love it. Rooting was coming later, so I'll start you with this. Rooting is the new stealth. Talk to me about rooting, Beatsy.
It's not the new. It's not stealth. It's awful. Like, I'd rather have a Spectre shock train any day of the week before a Shredder or a Pulsar.
You know what I mean? The whole rooting system is like the new stealth. You know, it's the new thing. We're going to see it coming at us. It's going to be used. It's another dimension of the game being frozen in place that's going to be for us to now consider. I mean, it's a whole aspect. Wouldn't you say there, Beats?
Well, yeah, but I think if you're a good player, again, you don't. I mean, my whole theory is if you're a good enough player, you don't need. If you're a brawler, you don't need Spectre shock trains, and you don't need those weapons either.
Okay,
like,
so you don't need them. You don't need them, but Feisty, they're coming at you.
Oh yeah.
What's your first line of defense other than just don't let them shoot you?
You can't.
Well, just don't expose yourself in the open.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Like,
that's how are you good? That's a basic thing in the
That's
game.
Galahad talk.
I mean, shit. Like I run heavy specters myself. So like when I need to cross open space, I can just like be patient enough, use my jump to cross if it's covered, if it's like being covered by the enemy pulsar or shredder, whatever they're called. So like. But I can see if you're running like heavy Bulbasaurus, maybe heavy stuff that doesn't have a stealth, that's going to be a problem because you're going to be stuck in the open. And then if they have all those freaking mid-range weapons, those Dragoons and Fuxes, it's going to hurt. So
he makes a point, Droopy.
600 meters.
Droopy makes a great point about that if you're going to counter being rooted, you may want to consider if you have the fundage to run as much stealth as possible on a lot of maps just to counter the fact of getting rooted and wasted. What rooting does is going to be real interesting to me. I mean, how fast it's adopted and how it's implemented. I think you're going to see a lot more robots with three different kinds of weapons, like one rooting weapon and two other kinds of weapons, because you can, with the same range, you can root them and then pummel them with the two other weapons that perhaps have more damage. I mean, do you follow me on that, guys?
Yeah. No, because they can stop you in stealth too. You're in stealth.
Man,
Yes.
well, you know what?
What's
You know these smarter clans that have these things. They'll pick that low-lying fruit guy in their clan, maybe the lowest ranker, and they call him the cherry. And he's new. He's wet behind the ears. He doesn't know how to fight yet. So he has those rooting weapons, and he's told to just go out there like a guinea pig just to test out the battlefield to see if there's landmines. And when they blow up, he triggers them. It's like, thank you for letting us know so that we could go through without going through the landmines. That's what that low-lying fruit player is probably doing right now, running around with a bunch of rooting weapons, and all the veteran players are running behind him saying, man, ooh, somebody's rooted because there's a big axe or whatever the hell that thing is up in the sky saying, ooh, look, this guy got rooted. Man, they're tripping. Absolutely tripping. That's what they're doing.
When you look across the field
scared.
and you see your buddies and you see that your buddy just got rooted in that sign, you just feel so bad for him because you know he's just standing there going, damn, I have to just take this in the face, man. Just smack right in there, as messy as ever.
To be honest, I don't feel like rooting is gonna be the new stealth or the new shot train. Because like let's take Champion League gameplay for experience. Most people are running either dash bots, vectors, or inquisitors. That's all the bots there is, pretty much, right? Pursuers. So like the dash bots can just dash and get across an opening like that's being covered by the rooting weapon. The stealth bot can just wait for the stealth. So like when people learn how to counter the rooting weapons, it won't be as much as a trouble.
How do you do it?
You save up your dashes. So when you need to go to point A from point B and there's an opening in between, you dash twice. Just
instead of using your dashes to commit, or even using one to commit and one for try to escape, you have to walk in more cautiously, I think is what you're outlining.
Exactly.
And then you have to save those to get away.
So, but you basically have to like go like get them so when they're not looking at you, right? You have to like basically,
pretty much.
Okay, because I'm like, how do you kill them? Like you look at them and you're dead.
Droopy?
So,
yeah, they're kind of a ranged weapon, so it's gonna be hard to kill them. To be honest.
Check in the chat, Droop. It looks like Rinaldi, you've run into 1% clans with Spectre Pulsar locking down players and Fury Dragoons kill you. 100 killer teams. Well, that's 1%, man. Exactly. That's Stone Raiders. That's anytime you go up against Feisty and anybody he's hanging with, it's coordinated. They have massive firepower, but they've got the skill to use them. You're going up against something harsh, Rinaldi. They're excellent players. They've been given these boundaries in which to play, and they're going to take full advantage of them. Yep. But it doesn't mean you can't hang, buddy. It's just, it's time to adapt, isn't it, guys? The game is changing again. The chaos is changing. I'm real interested to see what rooting does. Give me some predictions. BT, let's start with you. Rage quit. Right.
Yep, I'm gonna be a rage quit. I'll probably be rage quitting like every single game. But they got, man, speaking of rage quit, hold on, man, because I know you were not going to cover this. I have to know, when the heck did we lose the ability to dump our bot when we're about like a 1 HP left? Like a 1, not like 0-1 or 100 or 1000.
When we were playing last night, are you talking about that? And I tried to ditch, and I'm like, what do you mean? I have to wait 45
seconds? Really?
Yeah,
man, this time is precious, son. I don't want to stand here with a 1 bot HP. I gotta dump it. It's
very disconcerting when that happens, guys. Have you had that experience, Feisty, BT?
I don't like it. I don't like the timer thing. Like it at all, because like sometimes when I need to ditch bot to save an important beacon, but like I can't do it anymore.
Well, tell me, what are the parameters of that? Because I don't know. I wish I had. Do you know what the rules are on that? Like, is it so many seconds in between giving it up, or you have to play that for so many seconds? I mean, if you have to play it for 40 seconds and you need to ditch it, just get killed.
When you get into a new bot, you have 2 minutes, so you can't ditch bot for 2 minutes. You can get killed and drop in a new bot, but you can't ditch your bots in the 2 minutes after you drop in a new bot.
It looks like some of the rumor mill is going around on chat. What's that, kiddo?
What was that, BT? What were you saying?
Yeah, sorry, BT. What did you say?
almost.
Oh, you cut out. Did you guys hear her?
Man, she was cursing. That was God. God stopped the curse
and you'll be
words.
killed.
They said no curse words, and she was silent. Her mouth was
Is our
moving.
girl Beatsy getting a
She was
little
like,
salty?
All right, I'm gonna try a different device.
Oh, okay, that's all right. We'll get back to you. It looks like on the chat. Okay, this is rumor, you guys, but I see on the chat where apparently there's news on Workshop 2.0 coming.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
What is
tomorrow is
I'm gonna have
that
to-
Friday news. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, and Beatsy's taking us through her house. This is fun. Hey, Beatsy,
yeah.
give us the lowdown. Where are we going?
I'm trying to find my iPad. Sorry.
No,
Are we
you're good.
invading Jackson's room?
Yeah. Where's his-
No, that was.
he better have a war
that was
robot
my-
statue of a gepard with one foot up like a flamingo. Yeah, a mallet, a pen,
Oh,
and a magnum. That's Thug right there, man. He's doing it on one foot. Agility.
Beatsy, it's good to see you smiling again. See that
Oh.
girl's pearly whites. That's the one thing that's beneficial
Yep.
about this show that's on video is
It's
our
real.
girl Beatsy, because she will bring a smile to your face. Just think, we usually get happy just by listening to Beatsy because she's so awesome in Discord to play with. If you're lucky enough
my
to hang out with Beatsy, you know it. You know it, Feisty. You're one of her favorites, that's for sure. Tell us, what's it like to get on the field with Beatsy for the people who have not gotten a chance to play with her? Tell me a little bit about playing with her.
It's awesome because she's a lot of fun on Discord. Yeah, I get whenever bees come close for help, I just run over and just kill whoever's come over and take the damage for myself because I'm damageable.
no,
Well, it's nobody. We don't want to. We won't want to let Beatsy get the beat down. We like to let her do that, and nobody wants to, especially when she's trying to get a beacon and you hear her screaming in the background on Discord. Oh!
That's
I'm-
me. I'm dying. But no, Feisty. I like playing with Feisty because he's exceptionally self-aware of what's going on, like with every player on the field, which is very unusual because he still pulls up 1.5 million damage, and he can tell everyone on the field basically what bot they're in and who they're up against and what they should do all at the same time. So
he is a playmaker. He is a playmaker. Like in my hockey, they sees the ice. He knows where everybody is, knows where to send you. And that's great. But he's very subtle in his direction.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't get angry.
No?
He's very, he doesn't get upset. Yeah, I mean, we all swear and stuff like that.
Discord can be a salty place sometimes. That's for sure.
I don't see that.
Exactly.
At times, but it's also just emotion coming out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I try to learn from my losses, so being angry doesn't really help that much. But sometimes I rage if it's TDM and we lost just because it's TDM and they have much more camping stuff than we do because there's no strategy involved whatsoever. That's probably the only time I might rage a little bit. But if we lose a battle, I'll try to be as calm as possible just because I don't know, you improve as a player because of the losses you take, I guess. More easily.
You say no strategy whatsoever. I don't necessarily completely agree with you.
Stay in spawn, wait for others to come in. That's the strategy. That's
okay. No. But and then trying to figure out how to one up the other team is really, unfortunately, it's not a real intense strategy. It's just a very boring one. Let's just say, at least we're not getting shoved down our throats the King of the Hill tournaments that were going on endlessly for a few weeks. I feel like since the update, they've lightened up on King of the Hill a little bit.
But now it's team deathmatch.
No, they haven't.
Are you still seeing quite a bit?
Remember
Go ahead.
Statistics, Feisty?
Exactly.
Yeah, the Pat and Captain Cuckoo did the statistics on. They did 100 games, and they tallied, what they were dropping in. And TDM and King of the Hill were neck and neck.
I think TDM and King of the Hill are 28%.
Yeah.
Domination is around 25, where Beacon Rush is consistently 20%. So it's random, quote unquote random.
Well, it's random on the server. It's like that wheel, the wheel that turns and then the water drops down and then the wheel takes it to the next station. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we're just players, just dropping down onto this wheel, and whatever's random in the selection of wherever you land, it's their random, not our random. you know.
So we have this very ominous sword of Damocles that's labeled the new economy hanging over our heads.
Yes.
And it's in the backdrop, and we're all, from your poll, Droop, it just seems like so many of us, hey man, maybe we're playing a little less, but we're just going to keep playing, and we're just going to level up the stuff that's cheapest. And that's just it. That was the simple answer I got from most of your posts. Did you guys see that also?
Yeah.
I actually voted. I voted less, not because of the new economy, but just because I am playing less, to be honest. But like, yeah.
But why are you
Okay.
playing less? Just because of like school, or just because like you're just not interested in playing as much?
I don't know. Like, just.
It's okay. Admit it to yourself. Bring it out. Tell us what you're feeling.
I know it's a
I'm
lot of
putting you on the
factors.
spot, Feisty.
No, it's a good
lot of
question.
factors.
BT, it's an excellent question, because look at it. Tell us your feelings on this. It's obviously something that you're needing to admit to yourself. It doesn't mean it's a dramatic thing, but
It's not,
how do you
like,
feel?
let's say I play with my client for like an hour, just an hour or two today.
Grabbing some games.
We had 3 battles. It's actually like we are even challenged. So the first TDM is like a 5 versus 5 draw, which is boring as hell. The second game we won, and it was domination on Valley, I think, against like Imp. But the third game is TDM. We lost like 1-6. But like, so in an hour of playing time, I get 3 games where we're challenged, 2 games that are just boring as hell, 1 game that's actually like an enjoyable game. So I'm spending an hour, more than an hour of my time to get 10 minutes of enjoyable gameplay. It just doesn't seem like a smart investment of my time.
Okay, so do you feel
Dang,
as if
boom,
this
mic drop. It was a mic drop, and then a water balloon just busted. And it just overflowing with like, ooh.
I totally
So
That
do
was
you
a
feel
truth
as
bomb
if
right there.
this, it is, it's wonderful. So do you feel as if this is a matchmaker issue, a player pool issue, or a game mode issue / player pool issue? You know what I mean?
It's like, I mean, it's kind of everything. It's just most importantly, I feel like the game is pay to win at the moment. Like, at least at the top level, you don't get to get a free account and play against CDXX and Noob and win. That's just a joke.
Well,
right?
you said you had a few comments on the idea of the game.
You
tell us
cut
what
off.
you're feeling
Yeah, you
about
cut off. I didn't hear you.
Oh,
Can you
Yeah, what?
repeat that?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you now.
Well, you had expressed to me that you had some certain ideas about the current situation of the game that you felt you had a different take on and you wanted to express. And so why don't you kind of walk us through what idea you were trying to convey to me?
Well, let's say you're a player that's starting from now, and you wanna, like, some of the players in CDXX Noob and all those top clients have like 4 hangers and MK2 bots.
Of
So
which
you-
you've been a member here and there,
Yeah.
correct? From several.
Yeah.
I'd like to point that out to everybody who don't know.
Exactly.
Feisty. I guess I should. I didn't see in the chat. I'm sorry, you guys in the chat. Feisty. Some of them wanted to know a little bit more who you were. So before you go into that, he's been around. He's my favorite clan slut because he's a wonderful player that gets along with so many people, and he's tried several clans, and he's loved some and not liked some, and comes out of it still just loving to play and hang out, and has such a good following. But this man is an elite player. Don't be misled
Thanks.
by anything
One of the
like that.
best
This is an
ever.
elite player.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going through this with him. So
Now I
There
do
you go
have
for
to
everybody.
say when
Yeah.
when you play against this guy right here, this is what ends up happening. Your in-game sound goes away. Like you get a ringing in your ear, like one of those high-pitched like tinnitus ringing, and then all of a sudden that starts to go away, and then the first part of that Warren G. Nate Dogg song "Regulators" starts. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't like progress into like the beat. It just stays whoa, 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 whoa. And then you die. You're like, where did I wait? What? We got rooted, y'all. We got set up by the first person that comes out to try to get froggy with people, and he comes.
So
in
we
the executioner.
and Beatsy's been playing with him quite a bit the longest, knows him the best. But so that's his background. So please continue. He's got points here that are very valid.
So the game being pay to win, that was the question, right?
Yes.
So let's say a new player, like, or a half new player that he's been playing for a year, he's got like decent stuff, but for him to be able to get a hanger that's able to compete against like noob CDXS, like just players that are just top champion, it will take him. I did the calculation. It will take him like at least like 3 years or 2 years to get a fully MK2 competitive hanger. So that's basically impossible. Like after 2 years, 3 years, there's gonna be a new hanger. You gotta upgrade and a ton of other stuff. So like if you want to be the top, you gotta pay up. That's basically what this game is at the moment.
Unless you were already at the top in the past, and were already higher up in the food chain to where you are insulated. The higher ups are insulated. They don't have to have a bunch of new equipment to hang. The old stuff, as long as it's leveled correctly, will work excellently. They just might not get to be as inventive. But
whenever a new weapon comes up, all the top players, if it's a game changing like Schor, like Spectres, all the top players will need to get it in order to stay competitive. And with the new economy, it's gonna hurt.
Well, as I pointed out earlier, don't you feel as if that, as far as what we're seeing right now, that's the best chance, or I guess the best catalyst for us to jump in and start leveling stuff that is under the new economy? Is it something we almost have to? Otherwise, unless we have to, aren't we going to avoid it, Drew?
No, I just glanced up and I saw when Creeper said you can still compete with an old hanger. That is true. That is true. But a lot
you haven't faced us, yes. You haven't faced Noob and CDXS yet.
Yeah, but even
at least on the reg.
You know, it's like, generally speaking, a lot of us, the old meta is freaking Carnage, Rhino, Griffin, Boa, you know, those kinds of bots.
Yeah.
They don't, the speed isn't there in any of them. The speed of the fastest old meta bot can outrun the slowest of the new meta bots. And the bots that are in the new meta have a higher and longer jump with a less cooldown, whereas the older bots that can jump, it's high, but it's really, really slow. You only get one. You don't have any speed. You don't have a long jump. And your HP is not like the new meta bots. The new meta bots have a lot more HP than the old, unless you're talking about the Leo or the Raijin or Rajin or whatever it is, or the Boa. But those have their weakness, which is the speed, you know. So
yeah.
But you can put the newer weapons on there, but like the Carnage, it needs a higher HP to compete, and it needs to be able to run faster. So
now, as in the chat also, Chief Gaming, let me know, what level are you? Because you just said I don't have some of the newer stuff and I compete. I'm just curious, what league are you in? And yes, you're right. Like Creeper is right. There are always anomalies. The things that Feisty's pointing out are the masses or most players. There's always going to be a percentage quite a bit smaller than the mass that can compete no matter what you put in their hands. They're just great players. You don't have to have them, but as he might have said, Feisty, you said you kind of have to, but not really. It's just you want them because they're awesome.
What I'm saying is, like, I'm not talking about staying in Champions League. I'm saying about, like, normally if I play like a day, I'll lose one game or two. Like my win percentage is almost always above 90%. So like I'm talking about the kind of players that just like we don't lose. So like that's the kind of like
perspective
squad, that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like playing. I'm pretty sure I can stay in Champion League with like Griffins and stuff, but it won't be enjoyable. Is what I'm saying.
Right. Your point about these incredibly long upgrade times, you know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to happen. you're going to spend gold at whatever rate you can afford until your silver runs out. And then you're going to manage it and try to do your best to acquire silver. But silver is at a premium, especially when you don't sit and play all night long. Many players are only able, a large majority are only able to play an hour or two a day. And that's
Exactly.
and it would be a boon to a lot of us if they were able to streamline a lot of the hangar situations, the clan or friends squatting up, where it was a little bit cleaner as far as switching robots and so forth. We're still talking about a hangar outline and logistics that are years old, as old as the game. Really, it really hasn't changed much. We could have a lot more playing time within the hour or two you've suggested if we didn't have so many hiccups within the game itself, wouldn't you think? You know, with the hangars and trying to get a clan or get your friends together to squad, it's kind of clumsy. You know, it needs to be refined a little bit so that an hour on the game isn't 3 games.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I go solo more often than I squad.
Exactly.
It is kind of a deterrent, isn't it?
I'll just skip TDM. I'll skip certain clans and I'll skip certain modes and I'll go straight to domination and beacon run. Rush, whatever the heck.
Exactly.
You know
When
what
I play solo, I'll do
solo just to do that, and I'm not going to go in the levers queue because I'm only skipping maybe 2 or 3 games and then I hit domination.
And it's unfortunate, isn't it, that it's kind of that in the back of your head. What's that, buddy?
No, I was just thinking, like, everyone should go to the lever queue every once in a while just to go visit people.
Yeah, wait, you cut out.
Can you?
Go to levers queue.
Is that's what it's called? The levers queue, because it depends on who you're talking to. Like Kirk, I don't even know how to do the Australian lever queue, but wherever you are, you know, the LQ, everyone should go and visit, because you would never be surprised what kind words from the real live server can do for somebody in the lever queue. Hey, what's up, dog? Like, what brought you here? And be like, it's none of your business. Or it's like, I didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. Yeah, you get these conversations, be like, how the heck did you end up here? Man, I don't know. I just ended up here.
Because you were chasing
self-denier. What?
Well, it was funny for the longest time. DSAC, he's like, I don't know why I'm in the lever.
I'm like, whatever, man. I gotta get out of here.
You leave the game a lot. He gets so angry.
I was skipping. Yeah, I got tired of getting that all the 20% of the team death matches or King of the Hill, all one after another, just sequential like that. Nope, I'm out of here.
We'll work on your attitude adjustment later.
I haven't been back, but everyone should visit though.
Well, what do you think about the idea that there might be more mixed weapons? Because I've seen people who have they've only been able to acquire 1 root weapon so far and level it, which is astounding, because I've seen level 10 and 11 root weapons, and you know that those 60 days have not gone by yet. You can, they're kind of interchangeable. They're kind of neat because you can put them on with other weapons and they're like range and stuff. But tell me about that. Do you feel like
I think not really. If I have 4, I'll run 4 on a Spectre because.
But until then, if you only have 1 or 2, will you mix it in just?
I don't really know. I'm personally, I'm not planning on getting them. Like
okay,
that's
interesting within itself. I mean, how many upper tier players end up saying, "I'm putting this"?
I mean, you just cut off.
Oh, I was going to say it is going to be interesting to see how many players end up putting it in their hangar at what levels and leveling it and using it.
So now the players that have it, it's going to have 4. Like if they're like already getting the pulsars, they're buying 4. They're buying 4 and they don't really care about money. They're buying 4 and putting on a Spectre. So like I haven't seen any that's running like a mixed build. So I don't think I have a good enough. I have an opinion, but it's just based.
It's just not super important to you. It's not in your strategy. DSAC?
I was just gonna say, you know, it because the weapon has like a thunder spread, right?
Uh-huh.
And its effective range is between 0 and maybe 300 meters, but it can go out to what, 600 meters?
600. Yeah.
So if someone was to do, because I didn't request them in my Battle Wreck account, because what I usually do is take my personal hanger and then that MK2 hanger, and then I go into a custom game and then I do like measurements of like 600 meters, how much per shot hits the target, 550, 500, 450. But I wonder what the effective range of being able to predict whether you're going to hit somebody and root them versus just like randomly shooting.
Like if you're 600 meters away, can you root them easily with one or two of those from that far away, just to root them, just to shock them and then use another weapon?
So the medium one doesn't really miss. It doesn't have a spray, but the light one has a spray, like a thunder, like a gust.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. So the medium one actually have a range of 600 meters and doesn't miss. So as long as you're like targeting him directly, you don't miss. And each bullet has a percentage of rooting them. So the more pulsars you have on a Spectre or whatever it is, the more likely you're gonna root them. So that's why I don't think there's gonna be a lot of mixed builds eventually. They might be there, but they will be eventually.
It'll be until they're more available. They're just gonna work them in. Yeah. You're saying availability is an issue.
Yeah, it's like a transition build.
Okay, I understand. Sure. When I saw it happening, that was one of the things I thought. It just a transition. But then again, I also thought, well, is it necessary to have 3 or 4 of them if you can root somebody and then, with just a certain amount of shots easily and then use the other weapons with higher damage output? It's not a bad strategy depending on how easily you can root somebody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Beatsy, talk to me about when you're playing with this guy and he's directing traffic.
It's amazing.
Yes, it's amazing. Let's put it this way. When you're starting out together, do you find yourselves grouping, or do you find yourself reacting to just where everybody else is going first? When you drop in, what are some of your first thoughts besides what map am I on and what am I starting with? Where do you evaluate first?
I mean, what do I evaluate first? I just whatever mode I'm in. I mean, I just know what mode I'm in and I know what bot I'm gonna drop first.
Okay, so obviously what I'm kind of referring to is, if you're starting team deathmatch, or that's a great point, team deathmatch, or you're starting beacon rush or
your psychology.
Do you first decide which hanger to use, or do you guys just use hangers because you feel like using those types of weapons? Do you use hangers for specific purposes?
I only have one hanger. So, I mean, when I drop, I usually know in my team, if I'm squatting, I really don't care what they're dropping or what the other team has because I feel that secure with it.
And so many of them are using the same stuff anyway. You know what you're going.
Well,
everybody runs the same stuff.
Teammates are, and I know no matter what, there's a certain just kind of unsaid strategy, I guess. And if you just need help, you call it out.
Feisty, do you when you drop in, what according to game mode, what's your first strategy idea?
When it comes to hangers, when it comes to which hangers?
Because
I gotta
set up.
What I think this is to piggyback on what your question is, Shane. Feisty, like when you drop in, because he was saying that you're really good at calling the shots and being able to direct other people that are on your team, which is a rare skill, and that there's just certain people that have that ability to be able to think outside the box and like an aerial view and direct pieces like chess pieces. But
I try my best.
Yeah, but as soon as you drop in, are you staring center mass of the map and letting your periphery vision like take you out to like follow specific players and like the distances that you have to center beacon, or are you just wanting to control one side versus the other?
Personally, normally I'll point out like which beacons do we want to get. So maybe like if I'm on Dreadnought, I'll just point out we want the beacon on the lower side of the crash. That's the only beacon that matters, to be honest. Like I don't mind having like a 2 beacon. We only have 2 beacons as long as we have the side that allows us the entry to the rooftop. So it's pretty much like a very general call.
Dang.
I mean, like,
yeah.
And
that's exactly what I was thinking about. You know, you obviously when you drop in, you have you know what you're going to do, and I was just wondering, depending on the map, obviously you have preset plans in what you're going to do, how to attack it. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Personally, I always go to the most important beacon myself. Like unless I'm with my client, we have everything set up already. I'll just do whatever my team needs to be. But if I'm playing solo, I'll always try to get the most challenging beacon, so like my team have an easier time doing their job. I don't know. That's basically
that
what
makes
I do
sense.
when
That's a good answer.
No, that's perfect. I just, you know, you're an elite player, and a lot of players want to know when someone such as yourself drops into a game, how your thought process is. You know, it's something that they want to know because they want to learn from you.
I mean, the thing that Feisty does too is, like, I mean, I'm not going to say the clan that we went up against today, but they just came at us like crazy on, what was it?
Yeah, there was Dead City.
Dead City, yeah. And they were like insane.
That,
and, you know, and Feisty's just like, hey, just, you know, let them have center. Like, let them just and slowly but surely. I mean, it was a pretty good match, but I mean, they bought it out and we just held off because it just came at us so hard.
You could feel as if they were running out of bots. Then you knew that your time to strike was coming.
It's kind of like they have their the game has like a tempo. Sometimes a team plays like really aggressively, and you know, I mean, I don't necessarily have to go head on right away. We have 2 beacons. We don't have center on that city, but like we can survive off 2 beacons for a really long time. So, and they do have a lot of good bots. So I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna chill for a moment. We're gonna hold off, try to hold what we have, and then because the world bots it's easier to play defense than offense. So they have better bots, but they were putting themselves in a disadvantageous situation where they have to do the pushing when they don't need to, because they have 3 beacons. They can just sit behind the like structure thingies and just wait for us to push center and just kill us one by one. But they just kept pushing. So like you kind of like, if I'm calling the shots, I have to be the one that's realized what's going on and kind of like letting my teammate know that what's our plan. We didn't even try to get center. They just maxed out and we got a 4 cap and the game's over. So like, yeah, exactly. That's basically what happened in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. DSAC?
I was just thinking how accurate you are with the average bot, whether it's, I'm not talking about just shock train, because shock train, I mean, it's one of those builds that you really can't miss. Like the geckos off in the distance, you really can't miss until they get really close. But like Orkins and Terrans and, you know, anything like that, where you have a specific intensity of aggression when you aggress to the players the first wave, and you just end up clashing with the first wave and doing a lot of damage basically at center or at one of those pivotal points on the map. With the accuracy, I was thinking like with a visual of you actually going into a hangar that maybe is level 8, 9, and 10, the same exact builds that you currently have, but at like 8, 9, or 10 HP and damage for the weapons. How would the outcome of that match be when comparing that low level stuff to the higher MK2 that has a lot more HP and a lot more damage? Do you feel like it would transfer over to that same amount of, I guess, accuracy, intensity, and favorable outcomes when facing clans like Noob, CDXX, 1%. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like if you're using like low level stuff like Griffin's level 8, level 9 chance, like against the XR's new 1%, it just you don't have a chance.
Yeah, it's definitely the sustainability.
No matter how good you are, you don't have a chance.
Hey, do any of you guys? Is it kind of weird to you guys that it feels like there are a lot of undisclosed changes being made in the game?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, that's a little odd. And Taylor, I'm very sorry you don't think I know what I'm talking about, but it is my show, and if you don't like it, I'm very sorry. But just a hobby.
He knows a lot more than most people.
Kids. Anyway, and it's fair if you don't like me, that's fine. Too bad we can't meet. I really feel like some of the undisclosed changes are, unfair. I mean, it's
okay. You need to specify what's unfair, because I might have a completely different
example.
Oh, well, okay. Go ahead.
Can you? I'm just saying. Can you what's one of the changes you're talking about?
I got one. I got one specific one. Yeah. The Ember.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about too. It feels like the flame just went so slow compared to what it was before.
It can't hit me. I'm in a Spectre and I just run away and it cannot hit me.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. You're shooting like little puffy orange balls, like.
If I put the on it, the Ember's like way over here and I'm way over here. I'm like, peace out, I'm out.
It's a beast of a weapon, isn't it? It's you don't like.
A beast.
It's not fun to
there's no weapon. It's not even realistic. Remember when they first came out? It looks like you can grab your mom's hairspray bottle, your wife's hairspray bottle, maybe even your hairspray bottle.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? With the big hair, the lot of hairspray, and get some matches. Don't use matches. Use a lighter. Don't do this. But get the hairspray bottle and you go. And it's just like aerosol, like you're filling the earth with
the lighter.
You know what I'm saying? And then you put the flame, and it goes, and it's like, whoa, man, that's a lot of heat. It's a big fireball. It came out like that, and it was beautiful, and it actually looked like flames. And then they thought they were sly with this. You just wake up one day, and you go to fight somebody at Center Beacon, and you waited to hit that fire button with the Ember, and little balls of orange puffs start coming out, and it just like, and it doesn't hit anything other than like where the enemy was. Man, we had to find that out through experiential. Are
you talking about when it was firing through walls?
No, I'm talking about it looks like a damn like a piece of string now. Like,
okay,
what is that? They neutered it.
You got me.
They took its balls.
They neutered it.
They did.
It operated upon, definitely. Well, I was, Feisty, to your question, I was reading several posts that were suggesting that it was mainly smaller things. Some of the first things I noticed, the mechanics of the Punisher changed just a slightly, mostly in the sound effects, I guess, but that was a little weird. And then guys in the chat, help me out. I apologize for not having the exacts on this. You made me think of it when you guys were talking. If any of you have experienced some of the changes that you don't feel like were put out there, Beatsy, do you have an example? Oh, she can't hear us? Oh, I'm sorry, girl. I'm sure she'll get back in.
Man, it's God saying, boy, no cursing. She's cursing right now. She's saying the F word. She's saying a lot of them. Now she's trying to do a dub movie.
Oh, we can't hear her.
No, just rejoin the chat. Rejoin the chat. Leave the chat and come back. Boom. I'm gonna kick her.
Anyway, they were small things, guys.
And then re-invite her. Hey, kick her and then re-invite her.
I love it when she does that. Yeah, I love it when she does.
Oh yeah, man! I've noticed the Punishers are a bunch of little pebbles. It's airsoft gun.
Creeper, thank you, Creeper. Patrick.
Say who?
We can hear you now, Beats.
Yes, Beats, got you. No, thank you, you guys. I appreciate you guys helping out the perfect. Oh, they changed the spark sounds. I don't have one of those, but you know,
Hey, what's
I
up,
haven't
Adrian?
heard that yet. I think I heard that. It was kind of neat. Oh, Adrian. Hi, Adrian. It's nice to see you. It's a neat sound. It's a neat sound.
I need to get a Drippy Sack character to do this.
Go ahead, Feist.
Personally, I don't feel like the change of the game sounds, they need to like ask us permission. But like if they're changing the mechanics of like a weapon, it definitely should specify somehow.
Yeah.
When it comes to the embers.
Well, let's say, Adrian, what we've been talking about is some of the changes that have happened in the game that weren't necessarily disclosed, or if they were disclosed, I have not seen it, but I've heard so many posts saying, hey, this changed and I didn't see that anywhere and I follow this stuff. Adrian, if you have any info, some of the things that changed and I don't think that were disclosed, we're not calling out conspiracy as usual. We're kind of wondering if you noticed that too, or if it just seems like to us. So
I also noticed. Beast, what's up, girl? Come on, girl. Step it up, girl. Come on. Speak, chica. Come on.
Speak, girl.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I was saying today, actually, like I'm getting, okay, you know how the Spectre at level 12, and I have a hate sheet that's MK2 level 12. All right, so obviously more hit points than a Spectre. I get shock trained once by the hate sheet, and I have 25% health left. When I get shock trained in a Spectre at 12, it takes like 2 or 3 hits to get me down that low.
How close are
How about that?
Dang.
It's
like my
one-shot weapons.
On my hate sheet is like just totally diminished.
Okay, okay, now Beatsy, the proposed idea that seems on paper to be quite nice, and Feisty, I'd love to hear your ideas on this too. The mechanics being changed on the shock train to not be quite the one shot, more like the Dragoon. Talk to me about that. The changing of the shot train mechanics. Do you like it or not? How do you feel like if it's implemented, it's going to affect the game? Feisty, we'll start with you.
I really don't know. Some people say it's a nerf because you have to manually aim. Some people say it's a buff, so you don't have to lock on, and both sides have their points. It's just kind of like which one actually affects the gameplay more, and then we won't know until it's actually when it's actually changed. That's.
I'm sorry, Taylor. That was funny. Poor Taylor gets gangbanged by shot trains in her Heiji, and I feel terrible about that because that is pretty funny. It's how it's implemented, how it affects the game. It'll be interesting.
Exactly, it'll be interesting, and I don't know for sure.
How we counter? Yeah, how we counter?
Yeah, exactly.
Beatsy, tell me.
It's gangbanged by the pulsar and the shredder.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are now nicknames in the nickname book for the something situations on certain genders.
Adrian says he thinks it's a nerf.
What?
Adrian,
try to be clean.
Is there anything you can think of? Adrian, I was wondering, can you hear me all right?
Or are you talking to Adrian? Adrian's on a 30-second delay.
He's what?
He's on a 30-second delay. What? So whatever you say.
No, that's okay. I just wondered if he knew of any game that we, that wasn't published, or we're just not seeing where it's published. Because usually it's in the list of stuff. They haven't been completely transparent over their years. But, that's info is good, my friend.
Now I was thinking Scourges, Ions. Actually, no, it's more Ions. And Zeus, it takes up to like 5 seconds to be able to get to the target, whereas it's for shock trains, it's 3 seconds, right? It was 3 seconds to lock on the target. So like as soon as you go over, it takes like up to 5 seconds for the Zeus and the Ion, but it takes shorter. It's usually quicker. It's almost like it takes priority over every single weapon that you have to lock on the target, like the rockets, the Hydras, and the Spirals and Chimeras. But have you guys noticed that takes a little bit longer for Zeus's and Ions, maybe even Scourges too? Or do you even use those weapons?
Well, okay, that's a
because
point.
that may not be in there, because
nice.
like Adrian was talking about the current meta of competition. If you go to Legend and you look at all their hangers, Spectre, Shock Train, Spectre, Orkin, Spectre, Tehran, Spectre, Scourge, and then a fun bot like the Hellburner or something like that. Those are the people that are doing like massive damage. But the Ions, the Zeus, all those weapons that take longer. As soon as it hits, it's not like a one shot, one kill. It's a hit, and it takes a little bit of time, and then the damage is done. So those weapons are not even used in Champion League. But the players that do use them, you notice that the 5-second increase on those weapons versus the 3-second targeting for the quicker damage weapons. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Timing, range, overall effectiveness, and shot mechanics, especially these factors that we run through our heads so quickly. We do the math. We try to evaluate. Feisty, do you have setups that you just kind of do for fun, and then you whip out, I guess, the more serious hardware, or are you pretty confident you just can run whatever, or a little of both? Tell me about that.
I have 2 hangers. I use my first hanger for everything. So sometimes I set up my second hanger for fun hanger. Mm-hmm. But I'll use like Carnage Amber, Plasma Griffins, and Shotgun Inquisitors. But it was just, I don't know. It's just my fun builds, but I don't really try to use them when it's a competitive game. So I don't really know how those bots will measure up to, like, let's say Spectre Workin or Spectre Shotgun. They probably won't do much. Won't do too well. Yes.
Well, there's definitely stuff that you lean towards because they're kind of better go-tos, I guess, or strategically better involved in part of the meta, especially if you're going to run so many weapons that are so part of the current meta. Unless you're an FFA, I see FFA. I think that seems to have a little bit different meta. Or am I wrong? Do you feel like?
Definitely.
FFA? Okay, so I feel like FFA's got that different meta. Specters abound in there.
Exactly. It's all about the specters.
My buddy Matt Guyver was saying that's, if as long as he's got the tokens, he just keeps reviving his specters. And how can you wrong him there? I mean,
yeah, FFA is all about the specters.
He made another good point that really refers to what you just said, Feisty, and you guys comment on this too. He was talking about how you have a main hanger, and a lot of us, even if we have 2 hangers, you really only want to maybe change out 2 of the bots out of your main hanger.
Exactly.
And it's a little unfortunate you have to put together a whole other hanger. But yeah, I see where it just kind of forces you to build that full second hanger to get exactly what you want. Not a terrible thing, but it's neat that that's kind of an aspect to it. You know what I mean, guys?
Yeah.
Sorry, Beast, what were you saying? What did you want to say?
Please.
What were you trying to say, Beast?
My second hanger is not going to be useful for anybody. It's just an FU. It's just an FU hanger.
Your FU
I don't
hanger.
care. I'm just going to drop it in when I see Feisty and with Noob.
And let me guess, there's a lot of
Or
Hydra.
CDXX or like
A lot of
whatever.
Hydras
Like,
and Vortexes.
Like, here you go. I have an Inquisitor with an Axol and an ECU and one. And I'm just gonna run around,
do you have a name for that bot?
With my 1 Tulumba. I don't even care. Like, I'm not even gonna max it out. I'm just gonna drop it at level 1.
Thank you, Orion. Thank you very much. Now I have a question. I have a question for you about the psychology side.
At level 5.
What, both of you, all of you, if you can think back to the go ahead, because you keep fading in and out. I don't know if you're like. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just saw in the chat there. Noricums from Adrian. Yes,
Yep.
we know about your Noricums, buddy. We were laughing about it earlier. Yeah, you absolutely do not aggravate anyone with your Noricums.
Go ahead, Beats.
I'm sorry. All of you out there, I know our microphones are cutting in and out here and there. Please bear with us. We're doing what we can. But is everybody coming through clearly now?
Beats
yeah, BT, I think we can hear you now. See, oh, it cut out again. BT, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
Is she talking? Oh, she's cursing
again. Can you hear us, Beats?
Well, wait for her voice to come back in. But what I was going to ask,
as soon as we come in, we will yield to her immediately.
What I was going to ask is the sports psychology question.
Yeah.
From looking back at what you've experienced and developing yourself as a pilot and these Spectres and Bulgasaris or whatever it is that you guys do and that you master, what can you give as advice to the players that are in the middle, like Diamond, Gold, Expert, that
are trying to completely out of touch with them?
Or you complete? But
I don't remember. I don't know. I've been.
It could be the psychology of like what you prioritize on the field, like where you go by default. Because
Droopy, you just cut out.
Good night.
Oh, we got you back. We got you back.
We got you back now.
I wonder where that's
coming that again.
So what was the last thing you heard me say?
You started your question, then it just cut out. So if you could start it over, I think we'll follow. Or just something close
He's
to
like,
it.
I forgot what the question was.
Good. It could have been the question. Like I already said it. And
okay, guys, I know there's a delay, but
Feisty, what did you last hear me say?
Talking about?
Oh, I said like I don't. Last time when I first got into Champion, I was running a Stalker, 2 Griffins, a Thunder Carnage, I think maybe 3 Griffins. So that was back in the Axol meta. So I was the one that's getting the beat down from the Axol.
I noticed your bottom looked a little red when you started the night. I see you're still suffering from a year ago.
Oh yeah.
So I can hang in the Axol meta, even though with my Griffins and Thunder Carnages, but when I was entering Champion League during the Dashbots meta. So now I have the pilots that I just beat down used to before they have the Dashbots. Now it's impossible to kill.
Yeah.
So that's why that's when I was kind of one day I just rage bought a bunch of Hyetis, Bulgasaurus. That's when I started to play really competitively.
Was that around the anniversary of the 3-year anniversary where the Dashbots had come out and
it's
gold?
It's a while afterwards. Yeah. It's before MK2 and Shatra. While after the
okay, so you broke down. I want to ask that if you do not want us to answer, I understand completely, but I'm going to ask it as improper as it may be. When you had the breakdown, how much did that hurt your wallet?
Around $300.
Okay, I've heard more, but that's respectable amount of money. That's not something
I thought it was
check out all the time.
I would recommend if you're in Diamond, if you're in Expert, just run whatever you have the most fun with and just have fun with it. Don't even come to Champion.
Yeah, don't.
Unless you enjoy playing competitively and you have a few bones to spare and you don't mind just
and you have a good therapist.
So if you don't mind spending a lot of money on this game, but if you're a free-to player, you just want to have fun in the game, I don't even come to Champion. It's not fun.
It's not.
I don't know that we necessarily got to what Droopy was asking there. As a matter of fact, I think we pretty much outright didn't answer it at all.
No, well, I'll clarify that.
Can you read? Yeah, I was going to say clarify for us.
Because Shane, you were moving on to the next topic. You're I know exactly what I'm talking about next.
I didn't mean to, but what he said, you know how that goes. What he said got going, and I also looked at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hold him too long. What's that, Hunter?
Yeah.
What's up?
Coming over soon.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I was only moving along, but I thought he started to answer, but my bad. Yeah, neither one of us, Feisty, answered what he was asking.
No,
Go ahead, buddy,
what I
Clara.
was saying was basically what piece of advice as a Champion League player, as elite level. I think that we're pretty good players as we are.
Yeah.
You know, Feisty and Beast, of course, are better than us. So they're pimp daddies and chicas. What piece of advice would you give the players that have the same gear but at level 3, level 4, maybe locked at that level because they don't have the silver? Because in those leagues, you don't get as much silver as you do going against Champion League MK2 stuff because the silver is available in the HP of the bots. So those newer players, all the way to, you know, mid-expert or expert 1, what piece of advice would you give them for specific maps or specific situations when you have, you know what I'm saying?
So like I'll answer your question under the assumption you're trying to build your hanger to as strong as possible. That's what most people tend to do, right? Like that's what I was doing when I was building up my hanger. So like go for the boss that's been there, like it's been the core weapons, the core boss in this game, and always like upgrade your weapons first. Let's say maybe Tulumbas, Orcans, Scourges, like those weapons will just get you through a lot of the situations. Like let's say Tulumbas, I personally like to do a lot of damage, and I don't like using Tulumbas.
What a great weapon!
It's such a great weapon,
if I'm playing with my squad, I want to be strategical. I will put in the Spectre Tulumbas. So like the weapons that's more versatile, like AK Tulumbas, Scourges, that's gonna like allow you to both like kind of defend yourself when it's raw at close range and have kind of a mid-range support presence. Those are the weapons you want to first focus on, because that will get you through a lot of like different game modes.
Yeah, it's just noticing the meta that's in the matches too. That's a big point. It's like, well, you get beat by, look at their hanger and see what it is that they have in their hanger, and if they have the stats to, you know, support it, go for their, you know, the weapons that you can get for the economy that you have.
Exactly.
Excellent advice. I think it is funny though. Actually, he did answer it, Jerpy. His answer initially was, I don't know. It's been too long since I've been in that.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, dude. Oh.
That's kind of funny, actually.
I mean, it's a whole different thing now.
When
I was there, it was like the Axol was the best spot. Now the game is very different. So it's like,
yes, it is.
My advice, I wouldn't say it's very, very, I don't know, like I don't know. I'm not sure it's 100% applicable. That's the best advice I can think of at the moment.
Well, the game since probably Dash has been just change.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say
it
was
was
changed
Dash
before that, but
too.
yeah, as soon as the Dash era came, the update after update was change after change of a much greater amount than in the past. Although we still have the same types of complaints as we had with the Axol and so forth and so on, you know? I mean, it's good, it's healthy. The game's never going to be perfect. Unfortunately, as Feisty pointed out earlier, it feels like the pay to win has taken over to the detriment to many of us, especially the middle class, much less the championship player struggling to remain in competition like Beatsy, like yourself, without dumping your wallet into the game. Very difficult to do. Listen, kids, we have to start wrapping up the show. It's been quite a while. I'd like to thank FeistyRacoon for coming and spending so much time with us.
Thanks,
We'd love to have you back. I'd love to interview you more directly at another time. We'll get into more about you yourself, but thank you very much for joining the debate tonight. I appreciate it.
Yay!
Beatsy, we're glad you're back, girl. We're glad to see you.
Yeah, girl. What up?
Joshua, can you show us the door tonight? And for everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you all. Ryan, thank you. Kurt, thank you. Everyone in the world, we hope you, your friends and family are happy, healthy, and safe. Y'all pimping easy. Be good. Make tomorrow your beach. And Dark Warrior, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Dang, thank you. Oh, man, don't be making a brother cry. My wife would be confused. All right, y'all. Have a fabulous night. Thank you. Peace.